The Smith family was looking forward to a small secluded trip to nature to enjoy the fresh air and relax from the hustle and bustle of the city. A small resort town surrounded by dense forests was an ideal place for such a relaxing holiday. However, when they heard about the mysterious Mountain of the Cross, an exciting curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to check this place for their danger. Despite the stories about the missing travelers and gloomy omens, they did not want to succumb to superstition and simply believed that in fact nothing terrible was happening. The family set off on their adventure, armed with tents, groceries, and the hope of an unforgettable journey. When they approached the beginning of the way to the Mountain of the Cross, they were met by dense fog, which added a special mystery to this place. Their footsteps creaked on the grass, their voices were confused in the darkness, and they began to feel that they were in a completely different reality. This fog seemed to be separated from the surrounding world, and their adventure became more and more exciting and intense. As they moved up the slopes of Mount of the Cross, they noticed strange footprints on the ground, as if someone had walked this path before. These footprints caused some concern, but they decided not to give up and move on. The sun was already setting, and the gloomy shadow of the Mountain of the Cross enveloped them with its imperious silence. They continued to move forward despite all the fears and apprehensions that visited their minds. On their way they came across old monuments and gravestones, which only added to the mystery of this place. As the Smith family climbed higher up the Mountain of the Cross, the air became colder and darker. It was as if they were sinking into an ever deeper fog, which slowly wrapped them in its silent embrace. Jake felt that the terrible presence was getting stronger, and his heart began to pound wildly. Soon they reached the top of the Mountain of the Cross, where there was an ancient cross overgrown with lichens and entwined with cobwebs. It was a sight that made them shudder. Father Michael tried to approach the cross to get a closer look at it, but something held his legs. He seemed to freeze in place, feeling the gazes of invisible eyes on him. Emma tried to calm her son down, but she herself felt that something was wrong here. Their fear turned into an absolute certainty that they were not alone on this mountain. Every rustle, every whisper in the fog seemed to be the voice of something sinister that was hiding in the depths of the Mountain of the Cross. When night came fully, they lit a fire, trying to calm their fears and disperse the darkness around. But the fire did not bring them a sense of security. Through the dancing flames, they saw shadows, as if hiding, watching them from a dense thicket. Jake asked to tell him the legends associated with the Mountain of the Cross, and Michael began to tell scary stories about spirits and mysterious missing people. The longer he talked, the more clearly it seemed that their family camp was surrounded by an invisible threat. The night was long and restless. Emma did not sleep, trying to keep a vigilant eye on her surroundings. She could hear footsteps outside her tent, and the wind carried strange sounds, like the crying of unknown creatures. Emma heard a soft but distinct sound, as if someone had fallen from a mountain. Her heart skipped a beat and she immediately looked at her husband and son to make sure they were safe. They also heard a strange sound and exchanged glances with her, sharing a common concern. Boldly taking a flashlight, Michael left the tent and headed into the darkness to find out the origin of this strange sound. Jake and Emma sat waiting, feeling that time was passing so slowly, as if an ominous shadow hung over them. Michael returned a few minutes later, breathing heavily, and he said that he found traces of blood in scraps of clothing leading to the edge of the cliff, which dangerously descended from the Mountain of the Cross. Not far from the edge of the cliff, in the thick fog, lay a lifeless corpse. Looking at him, they realized that this was an unknown person, probably one of those who had previously tried to enter this gloomy mountain. Seeing the horror and bitterness in the eyes of his wife and son, Michael decided that they urgently need to leave this place. But the Mountain of the Cross did not seem to let go of its victims. They tried to return the same way, but a vague feeling that they were being chased pulled them deeper into the labyrinth of this gloomy mountain. After seeing the horror on the edge of the cliff and learning that an unknown person had come to an end on the Mountain of the Cross, Emma became very worried. She felt the mystery of this gloomy mountain beginning to lure her like an obsessive thought. and fear, not reason, told her that exploring its dark secrets could lead to danger. However, something attracted Emma like a mysterious force, and she increasingly wondered what was hiding inside this gloomy mountain. She began to have dreams in which she was standing on top of the mountain of the cross, surrounded by inexplicable darkness and secrets. These dreams aroused in her a thirst for knowledge and understanding. She tried to share her thoughts with Michael and Jake, but they strongly objected, convincing her that this was a dangerous and unreasonable pursuit. Michael was determined to leave this place and never come back. Nevertheless, the mystery of the mountain of the cross had a strange charm for Emma. She began to feel that a passion for learning dark secrets and dark forces was awakening inside her. An inner voice told her that if she did not take this step and go deep into the mountain of the cross, she would always regret the missed opportunity. In the evening, when they gathered around the campfire again, Emma decided to openly tell her thoughts about going to the top of the mountain of the cross. Her eyes shone with a strange sparkle as she explained that something beckons inside her, and she feels that it is there that the answer to the dark mysteries of this place is hidden. Michael and Jake tried to convince her to abandon their dangerous idea, warning that they were risking their lives, but Emma was persistent. She assured them that they could stay at the bottom of the mountain and wait for her there, but she had to find out the truth. So the next morning, when Michael and Jake finally decided to join her to ensure her safety, they set off. The fog was denser than ever, and the air was filled with mysteries. As they climbed higher and higher, they saw more and more scraps of clothing and traces of blood. With a heavy heart, she turned away from her family and carefully began to descend into the darkness that was hiding under the surface of the mountain of the cross. The darkness was alluring, secret, and seductive, but there was a fire of determination burning inside her now. She understood that this could be her last path, and she was ready to accept it. What do you think she took? Write in the comments. I will make a sequel.